Welcome back from lunch and to our next talk about a very big customer using NEOS. And the topic is called Enterprise NEOS, Empowering E-commerce for Telecommunications. And I'm very happy that two people are here who know that project inside out. Please welcome on stage Fiach, Dillon, and Daniel Klöters.
Oh, that's not the right slide. That's slide 15. Could we go to slide? Wait, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to. Well, we're gonna have to. Ooh. So technical issues have been
resolved.
So yeah, welcome to our talk. We're here, as Tobias said, to talk about the enterprise NEOS in the e-commerce for the telecommunications. And we will be telling our story about the NEOS and the complex environment that we work in.
We will talk about the challenges we encountered, the solutions we found, and how we tackled the new challenges that were created by our solutions.
But first, let's talk about the company. We work at 1&1, as we all have seen and heard already. Just for everyone, that's Germany company, which is quite big into telecommunications. 1&1 offers a wide variety of products, tariffs, smartphones, data volume, all that you would need for any telecommunications. We've got it. And recently, also, 1&1 launched their own mobile network. So check that out, and we are currently scaling this up. And let us also introduce ourselves again. This is Daniel Klöters. He's a software architect and has an existential problem without coding for a few days, apparently.
And this is Fiach Dillon, and I like his quote that without requirements or design, programming is the art of adding bugs to an empty text file.
And of course, we both love working with NEOS. And at 1&1, we both work on the online shop and the website company. As you might have guessed, NEOS is how we manage all this content for all our sites.
The online shop consists of multiple areas with different requirements and domain logic. This is not a complete picture. It's a little simplified, but there are shops for new customers and existing customers, as well as shops for homebound internet connectivity and mobile telephony. The website also includes non-shop related areas like the corporate pages where the press articles of 1&1 are released.
So why NEOS? Or to put it more plainly, why would a big company like 1&1 decide to use NEOS instead of another solution out there? There are quite a lot of reasons to answer this question, but the most important is a fantastic editor experience, in-place editing, easy to use. Also, a big factor was the workspace, so multi-campaigns, which we have, is a fantastic tool which we use. The content repository, the old one, and of course, we're hoping that the new one will be even better. Developer experience and the customization, extendability of NEOS. I hope you're all fans of that as well. And the extendability is more of enough reasons why we decided to put this in place.
Well, let's show you a short history of our project. The decision for NEOS was made quite a while ago. I think it was 2015, maybe 2016, back when we launched our first NEOS CMS that delivered the content for our old shop. And at 2019, we think, we started developing the new shop platform, and with it, the new NEOS application we're still using in production today. From 2020 up until, let's say, early 2024, we migrated all the functionality and content to the new platform.
On our way, we faced a lot of challenges, and we're going to go through them now. So at the bottom, we have a lot more than are on the slides, but we faced performance. And of course, Sebastian gave a fantastic talk about performance and how to better it in the last talk, and another large number of campaigns, which I mentioned, a feature for NEOS, was also a great big challenge for us. And we also had like high volatility. So our market is really dynamic, and we have a lot of creating demanding challenges. And the other point is the complex environment is another big challenge, because our requirements change drastically from one campaign to another, and may also change within a campaign, which causes like big headaches sometimes. But we are going to also talk about the most important challenges we faced, which are certainly going to come, which were then a clean content tree, which we're going to talk about today, the challenge, the security requirements we had, the dynamic runtime of content, CMS markup in micro front ends, and also providing part of the content from a separate Neos. So keeping the content tree clean, our first challenge. Especially with a high amount of complex aggregated components in our system, this was quite a challenge. So the basic aim is to keep the node tree as clean as possible, so even complex aggregated components should be represented in a single node in the tree. One of these issues is simply solved with another fantastic post by Sebastian of how to remove the content collection in the tree. If a component works as a container for a dynamic amount of child components, the component node itself is used as a content collection, so there's no extra child nodes in the tree, which is great. But there's another issue here, and here's a simple illustration.
Oh, this was one too far, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, let's say if we have a new component which consists of some existing component, so an image here and price, and remember, we don't want to create child nodes for this.
So now comes my part. We are already following the basic or classic approach of separating components into integrational and presentational prototypes. So that's what we are seeing here. And to avoid child nodes, we need to use supertypes and mixins to add subcomponents into our aggregation instead of child nodes, which means all the properties of our components need to be moved to mixins that can be included in the YAML configuration of our aggregated component as supertype. That's easy. We can do that. No issue here, because most of our stuff is obviously already inside of mixins. So we can now just call the integrational prototypes of our subcomponents from within our aggregated components integrational prototype, right? Actually, we can, kind of, but it leads to issues. We end up with having multiple content component instances within of just one component. And that's not good, obviously. So we needed to change the picture a little. To solve this, we split the integrational prototype of every component into a fragment and the actual content component. The content component just calls the fragment prototype within its renderer. The fragment contains the actual code, and since the fragment is a fusion component and not a content component, it can now be safely called from any other component. There could be name collisions with the property names, obviously, but we took care of that by just using the namespace or the name of the component as namespace. So to sum it up, this is a little bigger picture of one of our website parts, more of those teasers. The component structure we came up with helps us to maintain a large number of sometimes incredibly complex components while meeting the usability demands of our users by keeping the content tree really as clean as possible.
The next challenge. The biggest challenge also was a security requirement, and this was that we do not expose data editing systems to the internet or to the public. This was one big requirement of our of the project, and we.
Yeah, this requirement and also multiple other factors forced us to separate the delivery of the content completely from the editing, which means Neos cannot render the content or deliver the content, rather. We therefore end up with a new application that handles the content delivery. We call it the delivery layer, obviously, for obvious reasons, rather. We also need to take care of other stuff like export mechanisms and that one needs to be fast and reliable, which is a big challenge in itself. But we won't talk about it in any depth right now. So let's go to the next one. Obviously, the whole picture here is much more complex than what we are showing here. We need additional systems. One central part we wanted to show. This is the configuration, and obviously in the configuration, this is the shop configuration. There's lots of data from other services and systems, especially PIM systems and stuff. Also, our Neos has obviously an import mechanism to fetch this configuration, and that's all fine and good. And basically it is, but what if we needed to generate or modify content on runtime? Because Neos can't do that right now.
Actually, that's a big conceptual question also, and it's coming into our challenges. So the dynamic content, how we do this, and this is essential for our requirements also.
So let's say the image and the price on this picture, this is the teaser we showed before, need to be dynamically rendered at runtime, because let's say the prices are in a separate system and need to be fetched on runtime because they can change rapidly. How can we do that? Our solution for this is to pass some kind of placeholders in the form of custom elements in the markup that is generated from Neos or by Neos to the delivery layer. Those placeholders specify a micro frontend and an endpoint to handle the content and also contain additional configuration parameters. When delivering a page, the delivery layer is looking for those placeholders and executes REST calls to specify to the specified micro frontends, as you can see here in the picture, that then return the content to actually be displayed instead of the placeholder, obviously. This enables us to use micro frontends in our component structure wherever we like and mix those micro frontend components freely with static components. So let's update the diagram. There's one part missing here. On the left side, the micro frontends are visible. They themselves can call any kind of middleware services, which then are calling backend services. So we got some additional complexity, but we achieved our goal, right? And here's another example. This is a short animation. If we start it, there are multiple places on our pages where dynamic content is shown. So this is through a whole of the shop.
But wait, there's another challenge coming, a follow-up challenge. All of the components that the markup are in Neos can now be rendered in the micro frontends. Those dynamic, actually, we implemented multiple solutions of this. For how to show you, we're going to show you the best solution we found for the situation.
Multi-language templating, we call that, and it enables us to provide the templates for our micro frontends directly from Neos while using reusing all our static components. Basically, we write templates in Fusion, but the output for our content export can be in a completely different format or language. In our case, we're using FreeMarker because that's what our micro frontends, which run on Java, want to use. But we could easily change that out with a different template language or even generate something like React components. Yeah, another diagram. This is how it works in more detail. The template contains logic, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't work, conditions and loops and other stuff that is executed on runtime, meaning when the micro frontend renders the template. The template logic is written in Fusion by Neos integrators using our existing set of components. Oh, sorry, one back. And a special set of prototypes for the template logic, like micro frontend loop, micro frontend condition, micro frontend variable, stuff like that. There are not too many, only 4, I think. Using this special set of prototypes, Neos can render different versions of our templates. One that is used in the Neos backend itself, and a different one that is passed or exported to the delivery layer. Well, nice. With this solution, all of our existing components in Neos can be used together with case-specific template logic to easily build micro frontends that generate dynamic content on runtime, and our micro frontends only need to take care of the business logic and service calls.
So, the last challenge we're talking about today is, of course, here providing content from a separate NAOS. In this instance, it's necessary for privacy requirements for the content demanding it. Its published workflow needs to be completely different.
Yeah, with the setup we just showed you, the solution for this challenge was fortunately quite obvious and straightforward. We just use our new NEOS, our separate NEOS instance, as middleware service, or just place it there. And the NEOS instance just needs to be headless, so provide a content REST API for our data, and then it can be seamlessly integrated into this picture. And we use that in production right now. The corporate pages, where 1.1 releases its press articles, is currently implemented this way.
Yeah, challenges mastered. I think we went through all challenges. We heard the fantastic solutions we found. Yeah, let's go check if we have them all here on one board. So we had the security requirements as a challenge. Yeah, it's in its two-layered. Everything is not editable from the public, so we've checked that. Clean content tree. We saw a beautiful content tree with very little child nodes. Also the components using in the markup. We went through really wonderful examples of how we achieved that, and providing content from a separate NAOS using our middleware to switch out with a headless NAOS to deliver our corporate pages was also there. And I think if that was me up there, I'd be really happy right now on this mountain looking at all those achievements.
We actually were happy when we achieved those things.
We were very happy. Implementing all this was only made possible because we had an infrastructure which we relied on. Here is some of the wonderful words of our infrastructure. Some of them are known, some of them are definitely known. And it's a short visualization. Of course.
We also, and we really mean that, want to thank the fantastic NEOS community. It's absolutely great to work with this system, and thanks a lot. Without it, it wouldn't have been possible to achieve this.
Okay. Yeah, we're not quite finished, but it's okay. We also want to say, of course, here that we are also delighted to also to contribute to the NEOS community. Here's like a really cool word cloud and some words which we committed to, that we, as a company and developers, celebrate the ability, of course, to contribute to this wonderful open source community and also to the NEOS. And yeah, this is now the final thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Well, thank you very much for this inside view into a really, really big NEOS project. A question: is the editor able to decide when he or she wants to use a micro front end versus a static element?
Yeah.
Basically, yes, but it needs to be talked about before. But technically, yes.
Okay. And if you still want to submit a question, go ahead. I have another one. You talked about challenges you successfully tackled. What are some challenges you're working on right now?
Well, that's a good question.
Reducing complexity.
Reducing complexity.
I think we saw in our slides we had a lot of complexity, and I think this word also came up significantly. So I think this is like one of the biggest things we're kind of challenging, is to make the things which we've built, which is of course in our history, has also grown, no? And we've gained a massive amount of experience. And I think this is sort of the areas where we're going to look and say we need to reduce the complexity, make it also more editor-friendly.
Which is very hard in a complex environment like ours. But we're fighting for it every day.
Please keep on fighting. Another question that came in. Performance of the NEOS backend. Are editors happy right now, or does it degrade again?
They definitely are. Also thanks to Sebastian and his great work.
Okay, there's a question. I'll field it to you, and you'll see if.
Oh, well, just
Follow?
because
Yeah.
Sebastian before told that the biggest pages render in about 3 or 4 seconds now. Those are really only some pages. Most of the pages are much faster. Just to, otherwise our customers wouldn't be so happy.
Yeah. Okay. There's a question. Can you describe the process of what happens when the editor clicks publish, and in more detail? What?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's quite complex. We got an export mechanism, obviously, which is quite big, which packs everything into a thing we call content release, which is more or less a zip file with all the content in it. And in between it uses several open source packages. I think maybe Sebastian can talk about this in more detail because he helped implement those. But when you're using the decoupled content store and the p-runner, and yeah, inside there is also we're using a custom chunk stream for transferring this data, which means it's not a simple HTML file, but a stream version of that. And this is also converted to that inside of the export mechanism. It's quite complex.
It could be a lightning talk.
All right. If you have any further questions, don't be afraid to ask them. And of course, we also have speaker presence for you as well.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming up on stage, talking about the enterprise NEOS implementation at 1&1. And yeah, thank you very much for your talk.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.